Hello friends, this is DK Gautam and thank you for joining Interview Point. So in this video we will see how to create APIs in ASP.NET Core. So first I will create a database. In that database I will create a table. In that table I have to show you how to create how to perform CRUD operations on that table using web APIs. Okay, so first I need to create one database. So I will use this command. I have to open my database SQL Server. I have opened the SQL Server IDE. So I will use this command and I have to execute this command. Okay, the database is created. Now I want to use this database. To use this database I have to use this command, use the database name. Okay, and after that I have to create one table with the name of the table is employee with the primary key. So id is a primary key and it is the auto incremented by 1, and name, and we are having three fields: name, department and salary. Okay, so these three fields are there in that table. Now execute it. So this is done. Now I will insert by default one data in this table. So I will show you that. I'm just going to insert this data in that table. Now we can see the data is available in the table with the id 1. Okay, so in that I have not inserted id. So id is the auto incremented field. Now I have to create one project called ASP.NET Core API. Okay, so I will give the name of that project is Web API Core. Okay, so first I need to open the Visual Studio. In that I have to select the option create a new project, and after that you have to left side panel you have to select ASP.NET Core Web Application. Here in the right side you have to select ASP.NET Core Web Application. So here you can create project templates for creating ASP.NET Core Web Apps and Web APIs for Windows, Linux and Mac OS using .NET Core or .NET Framework. Okay, so you have to select this template and click on the next button. Now give the name of that application. So I will give the name of web API core. I have to select the location. Okay, so this is the D in the D drive tutorials folder. So just click on the create button. Now you have to select the API template here and click on the create. So it will take few seconds to create it. It's done. What I have to do here is I have to create two folders. So right now we can see the structures, dependency and properties folder and controllers. Two folders are available, and here there is no web.config file available in the .NET Core. So here we are having app settings.json file. So here so in the .NET Core, we are having app settings.json file instead of having web.config file. So there is one program files and a startup file. So this startup file is very important, and this is the default available. We are having that weather forecast. So they are creating one by default one controller. So I am not going to use it. I will create another one. Okay, so I have to create two folders here. So I will give the name as models and another one is, actually I have to create three folders in this. So let me create the three folders in it. So add folder. So first one is model, second one is services folder I will use to create like my business logic. Okay, so guys, this I am going to tell you that how we are working in the real time. So you have to follow these steps. Okay, in the real time you have to create your application structure like this, so that same structure I am following here. Okay, so I have to create iServices. So I will create all the interface in this folder, and models classes will be here, and services classes will be in this services folder. Okay, so after that what I have to do here, I have to install some packages. Okay, for that I have some like now add required references to work with SQL Server database. So we have to install these packages. Okay, these one. So now I will show you the steps. So go to the tools here and go to the new package manager, and here select package manager console. Okay, and here you will see in this window, here type here the install package Microsoft Entity Framework Core .sql server. Okay, so first I have to install this one. Now click on the enter button, so it is going to be installed. Now it's successfully installed. Now use the second one. So it is required. So I am done with this. Okay, after that what I have to do is I have to like create a services class in the service folder, and model class will be in the model folder, and interface. Before that I will use a connection string in this app settings.file. So before that I have to create the model class. Okay, so for that I will use one command. So the command that I am going to use is this one. So in this console manager you have to type this scaffold db context. Here is the your server name, SQL server name that I got from here, like connect. This is the server name. Okay, so here login and password is also required. So after that database name is API core DB that I have just created, API core DB. Okay, and this is the ASA user ID, and 123456 is my password. So I am also providing the output directory will be the models folder. Okay, so that I have already created. Okay, now click on the enter button, so it will create model classes for us. Now you can see there are some changes in the, there is nothing in the models class available. Now let's see, after building it is started building. Now it is succeeded. Now you can see in the model folder we are having two new classes. That first one is API code DB context class. Okay, and another one is employee class. So now you can see the employee class is having four fields: ID, name, department, and salary. That the table that I have created with the four fields. So all the fields are available in that class. Okay guys, so these are the, so this db context class is very important for us. We are not going to use this, so I can delete this one. Okay guys, I can delete this one. Now I have to do the changes in the startup.cs file. So guys, before going to do the changes in this file, I have one suggestion for you. Like if you are looking for minor and major project ideas and technical videos, then you can check this channel, my digicraft. There are hundreds of video on various topics on my digicraft. Okay, so basically the channel my digicraft is about the latest project ideas for computer science students. They are also making the videos on HTML, CSS, WordPress development, like Java, FX design, programming languages like Java, PHP, React JS, and so on. Okay, so and we are having like major project ideas, minor project ideas, and how to do the various things in the computer fields, and technical video related to the programming and the computers. Okay, so you can subscribe this channel. There are hundreds of video that will help you for, like you can check the playlist, so that will help you in your careers. Before going to do the changes in this file, I have to use the connection string in this file. Okay guys, I have the copied the my connection string, so you have to use like this. So this is the connection string, my server name, SQL server name, and database name, and user ID and password that I have just created. After adding this connection string, I have to add one class for the services folder and one interface for the iServices folder. Okay, so I will create one class. The name will be like employee service. So right click on the services folder, go to the add, and select the class and give the name as employee service, and click on the add button or just click on the enter button. Okay, so your employee service class is created. Now I have to add the interfaces. So add, go to the new item and select the interface template and give the name as I employee service. So naming convention is very important. Okay, so now we are done with this. So make it public. I have to implement all the method of this interface in this iService class. So I have to inherit this I employee service. Okay, so nothing is there as of now. So I have just creating the inheritance. Okay, now I have to write some logic inside it, and also I have to write the function, that function we are going to work with. So now our app settings.json file work is completed. So now I am not going to use it. Now I have to work on the startup.cs file. So in this file, as you guys know that ASP.NET Core is working on dependency injection. So we have to use the dependency injection and we have to use it. So to do this, I have to inject something here. So for that I have written some code and I am just going to use it. So like I have already created it. So after this line I have to add this. So this is services.add http client. Okay, so that we can work with the http client, and after that I have to use this API core db context class, so that is available in this model folder, this one API dot. Okay, so I have to use this context class. Okay, and so that it can inject the dependency so that we can use it for getting the database connection. So we have to require some namespaces, so we have to use these namespaces. Okay, so now it is added. Now so this is the interface and this is the service class that we have created. So we have to add the namespaces for them as well. Okay, so now it is done. Now error will be gone. So now you can see now there is no error. Now build this project. Now I have to add the service. So build is succeeded. Now what I have to do is I have to create some service code here. So before that I have to create some functions inside it. Okay, so I need these 5 function in it. So these all the 5 function must be implemented by this class, because this class is inheriting this high employee service interface. Okay, so in this class, so let's do one by one. Let me comment this one. As of now I am not going to use. So it is giving me error, so I have to use the namespace for the model. Okay, so now it's done, error is gone. Now what I have to do is I have to implement this method. Okay, so this method, what is return type is employee, so I have to create this function. So guys, before going to implement these function in the employee service class, first I have to create the constructor of this. So I have this API core or DB context class, so I have to create this object and we have to assign this object. Okay, so I am just creating the instance of this. Okay, so this is now ready to be used. So now we can use this DB context as a reference. And what is the error here? Okay, so now we have to implement this method like this one. So that's why it is giving error. Now you can see now we are having this error. When I will create this function here, like, now error will be removed from here, like I have to use public. So now you can see the error is gone here. So what I have to do here, so it is required return type as employee, so I have to write code as, so we have to create one variable called employee. Okay, so we will use db context class dot employee dot to list. Okay, So we will get this list, return employee. Now error should gone. You can see now what I have to do is I have to create one control. I think I have not created yet. So I have to create one controller called employee. I am creating empty controller, name it as employee controller. Okay, so guys, this hi employee service, this is the interface. So I will use this interface, and to use this in the controller I have to create the instance for that. So first I have to create one reference variable, and that reference variable I have to assign by using the constructor. So to do this I have just written this code private. I have created one private variable called employee service. So I have to use the reference for this as well. Now error should be gone. Now you can see error is gone. So this employee service, this reference is available for us. So now we can use this reference to call this services. Okay, so now I have to implement the function, this one, uh, get employee. To do this, actually I have already written the code to speed up the process, so I'm just going to copy and paste this code. So now this is the http get method. So this is the employee class that we are using. So I enumerable employee will be the return type, so get employee. So now we can now run this project and see that we are getting the expected output or not. So run it, we will see this. So I will use this url here, this one. So by default we are getting the weather forecast report. Paste the URL. Now we can see the controller jump to this get employee method, and now we should get the employee list. So right now we are having only one record. So we can see we are getting one record. Now the same thing I have to test on that API part by using the Postman. So this is the get employee method, the get employee API. So I am using that local host. So the same URL I have to use it. So my port is changed. Okay, now I use this. Now let me check, the breakpoint is coming here. So now we can see one record is returned. Okay, so the employee name is John, department is .NET, and salary is 50,000. Okay, so now I have to implement this method add employee. To do this, so what I have to do this, first copy this and paste it here, and now you have to change it here, post. Okay, so the add employee name will be the first stop this. So now we have to add this as well. Now we need to implement this add employee. So first we need that employee class, and we, because we want this employee should be the, so we have to add this employee record. Before that, what I have to do is, now I have to implement this interface add employees. Now we have to implement this one. To do this, just copy paste it, add it here. Okay, now return type will be the employee, so make it public. Now, so now we have to add the code here to add the employee into the database. So if object is not null, then we have to add this employee record into the database, and after that we have to save the changes, and we have to return that employee, the currently added employee. Okay, now let's check this one as well into the database. So add employee, return tab will be the add employee. So its return type is employee. Okay, so we have created this post API in the add employee API, and this is done. Now we have to run it, and now I am going to check it in through the Postman. So now let's check. Open the Postman, add employee. So I am providing the by default data is name is Lucy, department is Java, salary is 35k. Okay, so by default zone employee is there is nothing in the database. Okay, now I am going to one more record the called Lucy. Okay, now add employee, click on the send button. So you can see employee record is here. By default ID is 0, so it will create the ID. I hope record will be created. Now we can see record is created with the ID 2. Now we can see the same record into the database. Execute it. Now you can see Lucy Java 35k is the salary. Now I have to implement this edit and delete API as well. First stop this program. Now uncomment these services, this function, and we have to implement these functions into this service. So first let me copy these and paste it here. Now edit employee, so here will be also the edit employee, and this will be the put, http put, and for this one it will be a delete, and change the name it as delete. Copy this one, paste this one. Now we have to add this function as well, edit employee, and here will be the delete employee. For deleting the employee we need ID, so I will make it integer type and ID. Okay, and here will be ID will be the parameter. For the edit employee, I think this is not available, so actually we have created this update employee, so that's why. Let me edit it, this one. Now implement these functions, update employee and delete employee. So to implement this function we have to implement in this class, so that's why we are getting error. So copy this one, copy this one and paste it here. Actually we don't want this thing. Okay, so what I have to do here update employee, and here the employee record. So we have removed the unwanted code. Now what I have to do is I have to just update this record. So what I have to do is context, and we have to use the entity db context dot entry of the employee. This object we have to pass here dot state is equal to state entity state dot entity state dot modified. Okay, so actually this namespace I don't want to use it. I will use it on the top of here. To do this, just show potential fixes and just click on it, so it will be the reference will be added here. Now we have to delete the employee. To delete the employee we have to create one method called delete employee. To delete the employee we need ID of the employee, so integer ID, int ID. So entity state will be the deleted. First what I have to do here, I have to get the employee based on the ID. So create this where employee object is equal to db context dot dot employee or first or default, and get the employee x dot id is equal to id. Okay, so we will get the employee based on this id, provided id, and then we have to deal with this employee. Okay, so we are done with this update and delete employee. Now we need to check this apis as well. Okay guys, so this is now done. Now run it. So it is running now. By default we will get the weather forecast. Okay, now I will check this in the Postman. To do this, what edit employee, what I have to do here, I have to add that Lucy record. Lucy salary is 35 initially. Now I will make it 40,000. Okay, she is in Java and her id is 2. Okay, so now just click on the send button. So make sure this is the edit employee id. So we can see the salary is updated, and we can see the same thing in this. Okay, salary is updated. Now I will delete this same employee. Okay, same employee I am going to delete. So now change the port, API employee, delete employee, and id will be the 2. So the employee id of Lucy is 2, so I'm just going to delete this based on the id. So we can see id, this record is deleted successfully. So now we can see in the database there is no record available with the name Lucy. Okay, so this is how we can work with the apis. Now I'm just going to create this api as well. So this one, get employee by id, so it is very important api as well. So let me create the function for this, and I will say first need to stop this. Now make sure the name will be the same, otherwise you will get the error id, and you have to get the record based on the id by using this line. Okay, and that the same record you have to return to the user. Okay, so this is now done, and we need to do the same thing to into the controller, employee controller. To do this, write one more function, action method. Here get employee by id, so here same get employee by id. Okay, now we need to check this as well. This will be the type of get. Okay, so actually this is not added into the Postman, so I will show you how to add and call this. First need to copy this URL, and now add one request here, add request, API name get employee by id, save to test API. So this is the get tab, enter the URL, but my URL will be the api.employee.get employee by id. So paste it here, and I want to pass the id of this employee. So id is equal to, let's suppose id 1. Okay, so I want to get the record based on the id. So let me check this is running. Now hit this API. So let's see we are getting the record or not. We should get the record of zone. So now we can see we are getting the record of zone. Okay, so like this we can perform and we can create the APIs in ASP.NET Core. Guys, if you have any doubt, you can ask me through comment. I will respond to you as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next video. Guys, if you haven't subscribed my YouTube channel, please subscribe my YouTube channel for more videos. You can follow me on my social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Blogspot. All the links are available in the video description. Thank you guys.